Hey everyone, welcome back to Rhythm Railroad. One more quick little update video on my industrial area, so I don't get it once again ahead of myself, and I can keep you guys updated. So you saw all of this that I did here with the building, trees, all the ground cover, the plaster, and then the last thing I was up to was this spur. That's going to be for the these wood chip hoppers that have the self, emptying gates in the bottom. They're supposed to dump right here, and then there would be some kind of mechanism that would shove it into what would be a pit over here. From there, the idea is that there's going to be a conveyor belt that brings them up, or some kind of elevator system, probably a conveyor belt, brings them up to a tower, which brings them over the shed that's going to be on top of this, and then over to the transfer shed, which would then either dump it into the holding area here, or go right into the processing building, which is this one here. So the reason I have it all apart right now is because I want to show you how I've been putting it together. By the way, that is just foam. This is acrylic foam that I painted a tan, and then I just hit it with spray glue. And I had a bunch of sawdust in the basement left over from construction, and just did like 2 or 3 coats of that, and I thought that came out pretty nice. So here's where I'm at. The first thing is I built this pit, which was going to hold the sawdust. I tried to look at some pictures and things of how they look. It's supposed to be like a concrete or cement type pit. The rust stains are from the railings that have moisture or whatever that just started leaking down. And I might add a third rail in between those, because the gap is, these are HO rails, and they're already cut down. There's supposed to be a 3 level, a 3 beam rail, but I took the top beam off to make it look, shorter for end scale. But I might just add like a really thin styrene around there and just paint it yellow to make it, so that people don't fall into the pit. It's supposed to protect after all. So yeah, so I added some rust stains, and I figured there'd be a lot of like dust from the, wood chips. So I added a lot of like white pastel type things, and concrete tends to get a little white anyway. So that's what I did with that. I also added some details, some like lines in there to make it look more like blocks of concrete. And from far away you can't really tell. And this is going to be so far back that chances are nobody's going to see it except me, and nobody's going to know about it except me. But I guess I can point it out to people. It was fun building it anyway. So I just cut a hole there, and this falls right in, slides right in. Just want to do it without breaking the railings, just like that. So obviously I'm gonna tidy everything up. I'm gonna put a little spacer here so this is flat. But I did cut the styrene so that it goes right up to the rail and it looks nice and neat. This I'm going to be painting, like a cement color, and I'll be building this up. Either making it look like more concrete, like more of that, or I'm going to use like one of those metal grade type platforms with the holes for drainage and stuff. I'll probably fill that center part with that, and then put maybe another railing or 2 there. So the holes, I'm going to paint the inside again with the concrete, because it's supposed to be like one large tank that goes under, but nobody's going to know that. And you're not going to see anything really beyond that, because I'm going to use these are HO window frames, I guess. And I'm going to, cut them to size and put them in there so they look like, those separating grills that you see, and so that nothing large falls in there. I wish I could have gotten these a little smaller, but I can't seem to find anything in between. It's either this or like super tiny, and the end scale stuff looks really thick, so I'm just gonna go with this, and if I find something better, I'll just knock those out and go with that. So that's the pit. That's the first step. Then this is the main shed right here. Let me show you that real quick. So this is just a bunch of Pike Stuff buildings that I slapped together, and I tried to, you know, modify them and make them fit. But I wanted to keep it kind of interesting with the roof angles and stuff. So what I did is I took this is actually a 3-bay window or gate, I guess, entrance thing there. And the reason why the peak is here and not in the center is because I wanted it to have that look, because it's such a, you know, since this extension's here, I wanted it to be like a flat roof and then kick up a little bit and then kick down over the rest of the shed. So I thought I got that pretty figured out. And then the top I just did with styrene sheets with you know, stuff like this, you know, from those evergreen sheets. So I just did that. I gotta paint it or figure out what I'm gonna do with the roof. I'm still not sure what color I want. Probably just leave it white, but I'm gonna definitely weather it. Did a little weathering here, put a little gate in there, a little garage door type thing, steel door, and that you're not gonna see anyway, so I didn't bother with it. But I did do some weathering here as well. And then on the inside, I detailed it a little bit because you are gonna be able to see in there a little bit. I'm just going to flip the camera, so let me just get in there a little bit better. So that's what you're going to be able to see in there. And you know, this is just piping from an N-scale refinery kit. It might even be HO, I'm not sure. I just got a bunch of piping kits. I have like too many now. So I just started chopping them up and cutting them into pieces, and some of them I just kept like as a block, like this thing here. It's just like a block. So since you're not going to see that up there, I didn't bother connecting it. This is what you're going to see, really. And the back, I did kind of the same thing. So you're only going to see like this. So I didn't bother continuing the piping. There's no point. I just painted one red. This was actually the same thing as this, but I cut it up in a different configuration. And I just kind of like spliced them together. So it looks more interesting. And it's so far back that it doesn't really matter anyway. But I've noticed some of these buildings have a lot of pipe running inside of them for whatever reason. I have no idea. The other thing about this shed is that I had to cut the roof in this, in this rounded kind of situation here. And the shed actually ends here. And I just continued the roof line. Why? Because this you're not going to see anyway. And I mean, I might fill it, but there's no point. And the reason for this is because originally I wanted something to cover this hole. And that's why I came up with this idea of, like, you know, why not do like a dumping double track here that goes into that. And then this is just, it could be a runaround track, or it could be for this transfer shed that you could load the hoppers that don't have the gates to self, you know, unload. So what I mean by that is that if, you know, the car was if the car that was coming in was one of these, which are, you know, obviously the more popular ones, these don't have, you know, anything on the bottom to open up. I think the way they unload them is either to use a rotary thing, or they just take like a, you know, like one of those excavators, and just to go in there and they scoop it all out. Or sometimes they have gates that open up on the back panel and they all dump out. But that's why I left one more track, even though that's supposed to be just a lead for the rest of the industry. I left that track under what's going to be the shed here, so that, you know, the car can go under there and either get loaded, or, you know, there could be an excavator here waiting to just pick it up and just dump it all in there. So anyways, the whole point was that I needed that covered because I needed to have longer tracks in order to create that lead. So let me put that in place, since that's what I'm supposed to be doing anyway. And this is my first time doing this, so let me see if I even have clearance with the pit and the railings and all that stuff. I might not. I think I just made it, I think. Let's see. Yep. Okay, so I did calculate that correctly. So as you can see the pit. Thank goodness, because I wasn't sure how that was going to come out. So you can see the pit in there. And what's going to happen is, so you see just enough inside of it. I'm going to put some of this stuff, I'm going to make a smaller one and put it in there. And then the conveyor belt's going to come out of the side by the pipes over there, shoot straight up. I'm going to make a tower in the back, obviously close all that kind of off so it looks more like a, you know, like a finished building. And that conveyor belt's going to shoot up into like a shaft that's going to take it up to this little shed here. And that's going to live there, around there somewhere. So as you can see, the roof line hugs the backdrop. And the backdrop is curved. That's why I had to cut it in that configuration there. So, you know, this gives me clearance here for the hoppers to come in. It is going to be a little higher than this anyway, because I'm building this is all going to be a concrete pad, so all this is going to come up to track height. So there'll be a little bit more clearance, because the loads that these Athearn cars come with are a little high, and they do just clip the top a little bit of that shed. So that's that. I already tested to make sure those tracks that have the gap, you know, the hole in between work, so everything's functioning. All right, so then the next step would be this shed. And this shed, I love the way the shed came out, because you can take it apart and there's plenty of room to, you know, to mess around with it. But I scratch built it pretty much. These are actually HO, I guess support beams or support brackets, braces. It's like they're separate sections. There's 3 here. There's 2 in the front, which I chopped off, and I added styrene right here just to finish that beam, so it looks like it's connected. And then the back, I did that. I had to chop off that last leg, because since that track there curves, it actually it nicks a little bit. Since these cars are so long, it kind of rubs up against there. So I just took it off. Can't see it anyway. And that's and you know, the weathering I thought came out really nice, both on the base and on the shed itself. And you know, that's the hole that's gonna have the conveyor belts dump into this area here, and these are the holes that are going to receive. So this one is for that. It's coming in from the hoppers. They're going to go up in through there, and then from here there's going to be a transfer here that's going to go up into the main building with a longer conveyor belt. All right, sorry about that. It's almost impossible for me to make a video without dog barking included. So those are my dogs protecting our territory once again. Hopefully it's something nice from UPS for this layout. I ordered a bunch of stuff, and let's see what happens. In fact, I ordered a conveyor belt. The conveyor belt that's going to go inside this shed. Anyways, so this is going to live here, and by doing that, this serves multiple purposes. Obviously, it not only blocks the hole so you can't see it from any of these angles, but it also acts as the the system that I talked about before for loading and unloading. So that's that. I'm just doing temporary. This is temporary because I don't have the right length conveyor belt to go there, so I'm just gonna like go like this to show the way that would work there. So that's the first conveyor belt going into the shed, the transfer shed. And then the next thing would be how to get from here to the main building. Now the main building is not in place right now. Those are the wires for all these lights that I installed, which came out really good, by the way. And they look great at night. So that's gonna live around here somewhere. I'm not exactly sure how far away I want it, but I do want to make all this look very, very dense, like a lot of buildings and towers and tanks. I'm gonna stick like a tank back there. You know, I want it to look very busy. The main building from the paper mill is going to live here, so I'll show you that a little later. So again, that's the way the shed fits into that situation. And then what I did is I built a third little shed here. This is the smallest one out of the three, but I made them all look similar with the correct angle, you know, for the roof, because that's going to go here. I just gotta, you know, I gotta play around with the leveling, and obviously there's gonna be conveyor belt. It's gonna run from here to there somehow. I'll figure it out. So the problem is that I don't have the right length conveyor belts right now, but I do have a demo that I made here. This is actually from the gravel company that Walters makes. You know, for N scale, the typical one. I forget what the actual gravel company was called, but it's, you know, they're from there. And I haven't even gotten to that building yet, so I just took them from there temporarily. And I decided, hey, why not? Let's just paint it black so it looks like a belt, and just put a little bead of glue in the middle, and then just throw a bunch of wood chips. It's actually sawdust on there, and you know, it looks pretty cool. You know, so it would either be something like this, or it would dump right into those piles there, or I do have a longer one, and I might have to combine this with the other two. I have three lengths like this. That's gonna go in the hole over here and feed all the way up. All the way up to there. So let me see if I can get the other conveyor belt. All right. So while I was getting the conveyor belt, this is the long one, which is really three of the short pieces. So two of those put together. And it's just reaching. It's able to get in there. It's not gonna fall out. If I leave it like that, it'll reach. But if I want to move this building any further, I'd have to add another length. So, I mean, I like the way it looks. I don't mind that it's a tight fit there, because this would just be for pedestrians anyway, or workers. Not pedestrians, but workers. And you know, again, I like the way it all looks, very, very dense and very congested. A lot of structures kind of shooting out from everywhere, different angles. I like that. And then while I was at it, I just grabbed the other building. This is the main building. And what I did with this building, in case I didn't mention it in previous videos, is that I usually don't build the backs of them. So as you can see, they're just hollow, because it allows me to use those pieces to make more buildings. So that building is actually going to be here are the pieces. That's going to be another building that's going to live here somewhere for the chemicals, and the tanks are going to be here. This is obviously going to be flat once I get all this junk out of here. But you know how it is when you're building. It's like you finish something and you make a mess on the other side, and then when you go back to this, then you make a mess on this side, and eventually it all balances out, and you end up with everything done. So yeah, the only thing I want to add though is like a little piece of styrene here, so it looks complete, because right now it looks like it's like a cliffhanger. There's no like back to the building, and obviously here and here, so that it looks like it's a full roof optical illusion. And then I'm gonna have to build up some kind of you know, little box inside so that you can't see through the windows into the back. Because right now it's, you know, that's ridiculous. So I'll probably build just like a little pocket so that it kind of blocks the sight line. But I can do that with anything instead of wasting, you know, those valuable pieces. So okay, so then the last element I wanted to show you, besides the bracing, and you know, I'm gonna have to go with that one there, maybe a short one on the other side. I might not. But the one thing I wanted to show you was that I got these are just pictures from online, printed on regular, you know, paper, printer paper, nothing fancy. And I just cut out the middle parts, like here and stuff, so you can see the real color blue coming from the sky here, and it doesn't look fake. And I thought that looks great, because when you take a picture from like around here somewhere, you know, obviously I'm gonna make that better. I'm gonna put another wood chip pile here, but it gives it some depth. It makes it feel like it's going back much further than it really is. And I have another one that I gotta kind of modify a little bit, but it's basically that, and that shadow adds so much depth when you put it, you know, I'm gonna put it like back there somewhere, or maybe I'll put this one here. I don't know, I haven't figured it out yet, but either way they're gonna be pretty helpful in making it look like a bigger scene than it really is. So here's an overview of where I'm at. Like I said, everything is functioning. You can get a car through here without any problems. Everything clears the building there, goes through there, it clears all that. And like I said, there would be some kind of excavator or something here to pull that stuff out. And then these, I can get more than 2, but for now I'm just doing 2. You can get like 3 in there on each track. So these are going like that. Switch it up here. And 2 more on this side. And that's basically it. Looks good. There's the pit back there. When you look at it in person, you could see it. It's just hard to get the camera into these tight places, but if I just peek inside, everything's visible. And I am going to add lighting, obviously, inside to make it look better. But you know, when the bays are empty, when those tracks are empty, you'll be able to see all the way to the back. And the contrast from the wood chip piles inside the pit will make it look even better once that's all done. So that's it. This is my latest progress on the industrial area that I'm building. Next, I guess I got to put that building back together because it's in pieces. I chopped it up so many times for different layouts and different things that I now have to put it all back together. I just add a piece of styrene on top and it'll hold it in place, and then I'll go from the back and brace it and just fill it here and there, whatever weird spots, like, you know, right there in the crease or whatever. And put it back together, and then I'll start working on that guy. But before I do anything back there, the next step is to add another large concrete pad all the way through. And that's going to bring that building up and just make everything a little higher so the track looks lower. Because the thing with PicoTrack is that it's code 55. This particular track is code 55, which is, you know, it's a nice low profile. But it's really code 80 that they've sunken the rail into the ties. So there's actually metal pretty much the bottom of the tie. So even though it looks chunky here, once you bring the ballast up, the rail doesn't look quite that high. And I know for industrial areas it should be even lower than that, but I don't feel like risking, I don't feel like risking derailments and stuff because it's so low. And then I'll be frustrated if it keeps derailing just because it hit a little piece of ballast or something, I don't feel like dealing with that. So I'm keeping it 55 all the way through. And I still have to clean up a lot of the stuff. There's still like ballast in the grooves and stuff. So, but like I said, that's pretty much it. All right, so I will see you on the next one. If you want to see more of these videos on this project or any of my other projects on the layout, the YouTube channel is Rhythm Railroad. So subscribe to that, and if you hit the bell icon, I will be sure to notify you of any new videos. All right, see you next time.